Hello, everyone. This is Professor John Steffen, and as I stated before, we are going to be switching to that digital format I was just talking about previously. So what I want to do first is I want to talk about how the class is going to be set up. So again, just to get an idea of what we're doing week to week, if you check out the announcement sections, it's most likely going to just direct you that the new sections have been uploaded, and everything that you need to know can be found in the Blackboard course content, which is what we're seeing over here. I am going to be making this available very shortly. Now, I want to make sure that anytime we have an assignment and whatnot, we have a clear idea of what the objective is, topics, and any specification for assignments. Now, this first one is going to be a little bit on the bigger side, but again, I am going to give you guys the opportunity to work on this on Wednesday, pretty much the entire time. And well, let's actually get into this first. So just to kind of get our feet wet, so to speak, in this new format, we're going to build upon elements that we've worked on before. So it's not going to be anything too huge that we're going to be doing for this. So taking a look at this, I first of all want us to take some time to build on what we were working on for the model sheets. Now, what we did previously was I had everyone work on their model sheets however they wanted to, in terms of working on it either with pencil and paper or do it digitally using whatever kind of software they felt they were most comfortable with. Now, the good news is the more you did on that particular assignment, the easier this upcoming assignment is going to be. Because what I'd like everyone to do for the first one is to digitize it. We'll talk a little bit more on that later, but that is going to be one of the expectations that's going to be coming up. And also, I also am going to be adding a little bit of a bonus video for some simple digital inking. You might find this could help you on your model sheet, which is one of the reasons why I added that in. It's a small little video that I created previously, so that, again, if anyone worked on pencil and paper, and if you're able to get rid of some of the more elements that you don't need anymore and can focus on just the line work similar to what I have over here, you could actually use this as a starting point to eventually make this into something you can color with relative ease. So just giving a brief little overview on how this looks. I will be putting the video so that everyone could use that later on. And you don't have to go quite as the same way I'm coloring over here, but at the very least, it should be able to help some of you who might be having difficulties figuring out how to approach the whole inking process in Photoshop. So getting back to our announcements. And again, I'll put that link right over here, and any other links you need for videos we put in these sections too. So we're also going to be going into how to make a rig character. Now, we went over this briefly in the last week or two for the class. The big thing that's going to be a difference, however, is we're going to be discussing this as a whole body instead of just the upper body and such. So once again, if you've already started doing this for your own character, you'll find that you actually might have a bit of a start for what you need to do, and that's going to be fantastic. And if you have done this for like a preset character, or just like a generic character, I should say, and that's fine too, because at least it'll give you a little bit of practice for what we're doing today. And that's pretty much the long and short of that. And again, I'll go into more details for the model sheet expectations and how to do the rig character very shortly. Now, for the specifications, basically this is what we're going to be talking about. For the model sheet, basically I'm looking for everyone to put in all the colors for their character, and also make sure that you put elements that we had before, because I know that some people had multiple sheets for their model sheet, which at the time wasn't a problem, but now I'd like it to look a little bit nicer, a little bit more professional, something that you can use for a presentation and also be digital. Now, and if there's anything else that you could do to basically make it stand out, that would be appreciated. So if you want to see a good example of what I'm looking for, something like this that was done by another student is somewhat the goal I'd like to see. Basically, we'd have the name of the character over here. The three views are here as well. And by the way, one of the reasons why I'm recommending doing this as well. You could, for the rig character we're doing, if you have the 3 force view, you could actually use that to help you make the character you're making for animation, or at least get started with it. And I'll, of course, demonstrate how to do that momentarily. So the 3 facial expressions and all the different color information should be here. And of course, if you want to go beyond this, you're more than welcome to do so. Like, for example, putting in a little bio and such like that, or just any other pertinent information or visuals. And of course, the more detail that's put in, the more I'll remember that when I'm doing the grading. Again, no complex shading or lighting is required, since I'm just trying to get a general idea of how these colors are supposed to be and how they're supposed to look. So if you have something around the ballpark of what you're seeing here, it'll be potentially A quality. If you go further than that, you potentially can get perfect quality. So that's for the model sheet. Now, for the rig character, I'll just zoom in a little bit over here. What I'm looking for here is to create a minimum of a head, a neck, a body, 2 arms, and 2 legs. So that's all you really need, at least at this time. I would strongly recommend getting some other elements, but we could discuss that a bit later. Now, for the head, and I'm going to fix that up a little bit, I would like to see that the eyes, eyebrows, and lips are separate from the potential facial expressions. The reason why I want them to be separate is so that you can have your character's eyes blink, you can change the eyebrow expressions, and probably one of the most important parts, you can change the mouths as long as they're separate areas. Without these being separate, you need to put them all in the same thing. So, not a very good idea there. And make sure that the pieces are turned into symbols. This is possibly the most important part that I could tell you. And again, I'm going to give a demonstration on how this works. So, but if they're put in the library, you can reuse them over and over again. Even do things like flipping, scaling them with relative ease. So, now, this other part over here, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to make a video specifically for this. The due date for the rigged character, or should I say the rigged character pieces is better said, that is going to be Monday, April 6th. So it will be 1 week from the online class given. So this should probably be your priority. Now, one of the reasons why this is going to have a bit of an earlier due date, although technically you will be given a week to work on this, is because we're going to be using this for the next demonstration. So it will be to your benefit to have that ready. The model sheet, I'm giving you an extra 2 days to work on, and that's going to be due April 8th, end of day. So if you need a little extra time, that is perfectly fine, but everything we're doing will build upon each other, and we are going to keep pretty busy. So please keep that in mind. The names are going to be found over here as well. So again, I'm making a whole video just to focus on that, so that everyone has a good idea of, well, what's going to be expected of them. So that's pretty much it, at least at that time. So what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to just show about all the different pieces and basically how to approach this in terms of the mentality. And then I'm going to actually make a second video so that this doesn't end up being too long. And for those of you who just want to get started on the rigged video again and have to pause it or stop it, whatever, you can go right to that. But let's talk about the goals for this. The goals are as follows. You basically are going to have, once again, a body that's going to be split up in similar ways like what you're seeing here. Good news about many of this is once you have the one side of your body, you pretty much have both, because all you would have to do is just make the actual body itself, the hips, crotch wouldn't be a bad idea, and upper leg, lower leg, and foot, so that your character can move and walk and that kind of thing. Same thing for the arm, upper arm, lower arm, and the hand itself. Now, and again, all this I'm going to be demonstrating for this. When you're doing the actual setting up of the character, you will probably want to have the arm straight like this at first, but when you actually break this apart, usually I find that having this area rounded at the bottom can give the illusion of something that looks like an elbow over here. So when you eventually have to bend that, which I'm going to show again everyone how to animate these parts, that'll hopefully help. And for the head, again, I strongly recommend making the head, and you can keep the hair together if you want to, but keep the eyebrows, eyes, and mouths completely separate. Now, at least for the beginning, these are the bare minimums that you need for your head. But eventually, you will want to add maybe different eyebrows that could be used for either frowning or looking happier, depending on exactly how your character is going to be. Now, one of the reasons why that we're switching to this format, while everyone potentially could get the actual software digitally, and I'm not too concerned about that, not everyone will have the ability to get a Wacom tablet, especially since deliveries for some people might be a little bit tricky. I know, in fact, my apartment complex, we have to go through the front office, and the front office isn't open up at all the times. But as long as you have the software and you can get it digitally, which you can, you should be able to make all these different parts, and you don't necessarily need a Wacom tablet and stylus for it, which is definitely ideal for our situation, which is the reason why we're switching to this format. And I'll review this in the second video as well, and why we're switching to this format, at the very least for now. So you don't have to draw them again and again and again. So you'll find that while this will be a different method of animating, it is still similar to what they do in the animation industry. Again, you can see examples of this if you take a look at the beginning of this in examples like Archer, 16, and there's even a couple other animations that use very similar techniques to basically make this happen. So it's not unusual at all to be able to animate in this way. So, okay. Well, that's pretty much what I wanted to say for video 1. If any of you need assistance on inking, I will leave that link for that one method of very simple inking for those who kind of work with pencil and paper. And we'll talk in the second video on how we're going to make these other parts. And hopefully you'll find this is going to be useful. All right? Talk to you in the next video.